Looks like Sharan has to attend his own masterclass.
I don't see what's wrong in laying off people. It happens.
The gap is so fucking huge there.
When you're actually selling something, as sacred, as financial literacy, I just think these tactics can do more harm.
These people are doing what they're doing and charging money to it because our schools did not teach us this.
No, I think this is fucked up. This is not cool.
Please don't follow your man, bro.
Welcome to another edition of the Indian Startup Desktop. Let's go.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, guys.
So there's this guy who imitated our favorite podcaster, the Ranveer show.
तो आपने कभी ये सोचा है कि एलियन आपकी जिप चुरा के ले जाए तो आप क्या करोगे? सीरियस बात पे आ जाए.
It's actually a pretty good imitation of him, dude. Look, I would love to listen to a lot of his podcasts if he just didn't react and just have this stupid face with him half the time, man. Saksham, what do you think?
I've whenever I listen to it podcast, it's only been on Spotify because if I start watching it on YouTube, I stop focusing on the content and I just start laughing, looking at his reaction that he's making.
Yeah.
But I probably feel that he's the guy who knows his audience the most. He knows what kind of content sells, what kind of content needs to be made, and he's doubling down on that.
Let's see how Gen Z applies for leave. Saksham, what will you do if your teammates apply for leave like this?
Hi Siddharth, I will be on leave on 8th November. Bye. Hmm. Firstly, I'll be taken aback a little bit. While I would not stop the person from going going from leave.
But why
Okay,
would
bye.
we be taken back? The idea is clearly communicated, right? And the highest marks is for being clearly communicating the idea.
Okay, Pavan, sure.
You should mention K and limit him.
This is a very genius tweet that we came across maybe a week back. But this founder of a company, she asked a candidate about a gap in his resume, and he said he can't explain because he has signed a confidentiality agreement for it. This is so smart. Pavan, I know you love this one especially.
I think so. This has been an underrated, unexploited reason in the HR world, which I think so. With this tweet going viral, a lot of people will be going to use it. Who knows, dude? They can say that I was working for CIA, I was working for Indian Defense, a lot of things. That's why I can't tell you about that.
Let's move on to the story of the week. Finance guru tightens his own budget. I know you guys might have seen this, all over social media. But just to give you a little bit of
Yeah.
context, there's a really popular Finfluencer called Finance with Sharan who preaches about, financial, inclusion, financial maturity, and a bunch of different things. Fired about 15% of his workforce. Looks like Sharan Hegde has to attend his own masterclass. I joined this edtech fintech company 1% club thinking it was a solid opportunity. They're all about promoting financial literacy and responsibilities. But day before yesterday, they blindsided me with a layoff email. Turns out around 40 of us are getting cut, including people who literally moved cities for the job. Sheesh, this is brutal. Saksham, come on, give us some spice.
Hmm. I think I get why he's written a bitter email, but purely, just being a capitalist, I don't see what's wrong in laying off people. It happens. Just the last couple of years, we saw all of the biggest of MNCs even doing it, who have billions of dollars and who are making, just increasingly high profits quarter on quarter, be it your Amazon, be it your Tesla, be it anybody. Right? So I don't see what's wrong in laying off people, be it a VP, be it at somebody at a junior level, as long as you are getting enough severance to make sure that you are able to find the right next job. So be it. I think that's a part and parcel of working in corporate, and irrespective of whether it's a small company or a large organization, it happens everywhere.
Look at this. 1% club laid off 15% of their workforce. Now they're 0.85% club. Look, yeah, I know. This topic kind of divides a lot of people, in different ways. But look at what Sharan has to say about this. Avan, before you jump in, so Sharan realized that this is kind of blowing up on Reddit, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. So he came out with a very, in my opinion, a very thoughtful post because at least he clears the air, on what he really did. I just laid off 15% of my workforce, and I received a lot of messages from my friends and media if I'm going bankrupt. As a finance influencer who built his career around financial education, the irony isn't lost on me. Thank fucking God, huh?
Nice.
Let me give you guys an
Yeah.
update. It's been a while. We are currently doing 8 million of annualized revenue with 35 to 40% EBITDA. We have a fancy 5,000 square foot office in Bombay. Investors' money of 10 crores is currently invested in FD earning 8.5% interest. That's too funny. Blah, blah, blah. While I
Yeah.
don the hat of a capitalistic businessman, continually growing the company, I also realize the psychological impact on the laid off employees. Please note that we have offered a very healthy severance package depending on the tenure to
Yeah.
all the laid off employees. Pavan, what are your thoughts on finfluencers in general? Or if I have to be more specific, what are your
Hmm.
thoughts on creators who then start companies of their own? I feel like people who do that are held to a very a higher standard than the average college dropout founder that we normally see, right?
See, there in India, there is a very big gap for educating people for how they should be managing finances, and that knowledge gap is not limited to a poor set of people. Even the people who are making a lot of money sometimes slip their mind and go on a different path and spend all of their money. And there is a good market for this. Where things go wrong is where your incentivization is not aligned with what's right for the end customer or end user. That's where things go wrong. When someone was doing that on a free basis, educating whole lot of people on a mass media, it felt right, it felt great. But the moment someone starts charging for it or builds a product or a
Yeah.
service around it, right, a lot of ice gain traction. On the other end, the entire influencer world has been under the radar of SEBI and a lot of regulatory institutions in recent times. I heard YouTube has been flagging videos and taking
Yeah.
them down around these content. So it would be very interesting to see how this space evolves. But so to say, India, which is a country of 1.5 billion people, for the longest time just had 1,600 registered investment advisors, if I'm not wrong. Probably that number has slightly increased now. But the thing is, the gap is so fucking
Yeah,
huge there.
look at this. Look, when it rains, it pours. Now, once Sharan Hegde's company has been exposed, a lot of folks are basically just calling out things that they found shady. And look at this. Sharan Hegde's course sign up shows percentage sold out. It is hard coded to start at 78.5%, rise randomly to 99, and reset back to 78. Predatory services mostly preying on desperation of people. I know a lot of websites do this for marketing, they're all predatory. Saksham, what do you think?
This is fucked up.
Yeah,
No, I think this is fucked up. This is not cool. Yeah, I don't think this is cool at
I
all.
think it's cool if it's a
This
normal
is like,
SaaS website where you're trying to create FOMO, where you're trying to do an event, etc. But when you're actually selling something, as sacred,
yeah.
as financial literacy, I just think these tactics can do more harm.
Especially, Sharan has also always focused on the underserved sector, right? He's not picked a tier one, tier two city and tried to do financial literacy there. He's really gone to tier three, tier four and tried to do this. And there it's more emotional for people than just, logical, I'd say.
These guys sell dreams, not knowledge. They prey on your
Yeah, it's
aspirations. If you're paying them money to teach you what's already available on the internet for free, then you're the idiot. What are your thoughts on influencers in general, Pawan?
the saddest part is these people have a market and these people are doing what they're doing and charging money to it because our schools did not teach us this. The real people who should have
Yeah.
taught us this were supposed to be our schools, where basics of finance, basic of
Yeah.
income, taxation, none of that was taught. And then there is now huge void, and we complain to everyone that why are these people charging, why there is a market, so on and so forth. It is us who has to be blamed. And going back to building FOMO, I'm pretty sure it's again a push product more than a pull product only.
Yeah.
I don't think so. People will wake up someday and think that, oh, I'll buy a finance course today. You will have to make it a push to make sure that people come there. The one way of making push is by influencing them. The second is threatening them. And probably here is a
Yeah.
mix of both we are seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually agree. I agree with both the points, Pawan, that you mentioned.
Please don't follow your man, bro.
That's Pawan's advice. Don't
Um,
follow your man. A competitor CEO, Sridhar Vembu of Zoho, called them out.
There is no harm in in firing people or laying off people who are underperformers. Firing people who are underperformers.
Freshworks stock going 20% up the same day when they fired people.
Let's move on to another drama that unfolded this week, the Freshworks and Vembu drama. Um, Saksham, Pawan, do you guys want to chip in to give context?
Yes, absolutely. So guys, so what happened last week? Freshworks, which is this company that we have also spoken about a little before when Grish Mathrubootham, one of their CEO who has been running the company for the last 14 years, essentially stepped down. and the new CEO took over, they actually decided to lay off around I think 7 to 10% of their 13% of their workforce.
Drama happened when a competitor CEO, Sridhar Vembu of Zoho, called them out. A company that has 1 billion cash, which is about 1.5 times its annual revenue, and is actually still growing in a decent rate, making a cash profit, laying off 12-13% of its workforce, should not expect any loyalty from its employees ever. And to add insult to injury when it can afford 400 million in a stock buyback. I can understand the unfortunate reality of layoffs when a business is struggling or declining and make a loss. This is not that situation. This is naked greed, nothing else. Pavan?
I want to ask you guys one question. If Sridhar Vembu was not a competitor CEO, do you think it would not have been taken in a negative light? I understand the positive lines, non-capitalism, goodwill,
God.
be good to people, don't lay off. I understand that. But what if he was not a competitor CEO?
I think it would have been more well received. But the problem in India is this, man. This is why, like, I think, our mindset itself has to change. The moment somebody gets, reasonably sliver of success, everybody goes and worships them. Just look at these comments, sir. You are an inspiration. I'm learning a lot from you. I'm not questioning you, but only asking question. Like, sheesh, man. Like, come on, how much lower are you going to stoop to just have simple conversations, which is all about perspectives? Saksham, what do you think, though?
I am always of the opinion that there is no harm in in firing people or laying off people who are underperformers. Firing people who are underperformers. Eventually, you want to run an efficient organization, irrespective of the size of it. Sure, you have 5,000 employees across the globe. Sure, you can have 1 lakh employees across the globe. But if I was a founder, I would love to have my org as efficient as possible. And if I have to get a little bit of hatred for it, so be it.
Yeah.
The most interesting part was stock market actually rewarding and Freshworks stock going 20% up the same day when they fired people
Oh yeah.
and did a
Retail
buyback.
investors are brutal for sure. But look, the thing is this, right? Like firing somebody is not just about giving severance and just making them happy per se. It has a very personal connection to it. Somebody who's been fired has, and look, this might not be applicable to some of us, but a couple of us have had horrible experiences when something at work or just even being fired will kind of just put you in a bad space mentally, and that's why people have to be a lot more empathetic to this. I remember when I was working for
Yeah.
nearby, Ankur Wariku had fired a bunch of folks in his company, and he basically gave them about 6 months of salary as severance, which is almost unheard of at that point of time. But even then, people were so bitter, so
Yeah.
angry per se, because for them it was more of a pride thing rather than just severance or money or anything on that point.
Did tweet Fruce?
All right. Yes, I guess that's it from this episode of the Indian Startup Desktop.